Hey, man, just because we know people don't mean that they know things. A lot of us was in the same classes with some of these folks. That don't mean they were passing these classes.
All the time.
It ain't the world leaving you behind, man. It's your line of thinking. You think the science stopped evolving because you stopped learning, and it don't work that way. I couldn't imagine voting for somebody who thinks identifying with me is identifying with a felon. That's crazy as hell. I'm Mrs. Spann, and I'm approving these messages. This is the Mrs. Spann Official Podcast. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Mrs. Spann Official Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann, and this is episode number 81 of the show. And yo, man, it's been a while since the last time I talked to y'all. It's been a little bit over a month since the last time I hit the mic, man. Of course, some of these breaks are not fucking planned, but life be lifing and whatnot, man. And I've been dealing with life, man. Like I've been a groomsman in one of my partner's wedding. My man got married not too long ago, so. It's a week. Yeah, shout out to Henry and Stephanie, man. They got married last week, so I was in the wedding for that. Today is Mrs. Spann's birthday, so shout out to Mrs. Spann. Yeah, so, you guys, if you are friends with Mrs. Spann, if you see her, Mrs. Spann, on social media, go ahead and wish her a happy birthday, man. I'm sure it'll be appreciated. But also, man, we had, I've been dealing with shit at work. Not only that, man, I'm older and I'm tired, bro. Like, I've been dealing with so much shit that sometimes, man, my body will tell me to just sit the fuck down. And so, yeah, man, I had to sit the fuck down sometimes. And as much as I would like to get out here and be on this microphone and talking my shit and spreading my shit and how I think about the world, man, sometimes, my body will tell me, hey, bro, sit the fuck down. So sometimes I've been listening to my body a bit more lately, right? But yeah, man, we're in football season, right? We are in football season. My Lions did their fucking thing today. Right? Yeah, we got our asses handed to us by the Green Bay Packers last week. But I was telling my people back home in Chicago, man, listen, y'all did get our old offensive coordinator. And yeah, y'all picked up a couple draft picks. And y'all got a couple, free agents. But it's going to be a minute. Like, Chicago only won 5 games last year. It wasn't like the Bears are going to be, like, good instantly and shit. So right now they 0-2. And I really kind of feel like the Bears... well, not even so much the Bears. I feel like the Lions really poured it on today because Ben Johnson went to a fucking divisional rival. I really do feel like that. I feel like they're like, oh, you gonna go to somebody in the division, nigga? Oh, okay. 52, nigga. They hung a 50 piece on them niggas. And so, yeah, as a Lions fan, yeah. So we got that going on, man, real talk. But, of course, before we get into the show, man, I got to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit up that hotline at area code 313-288-0485. This area code 313-288-0485. Go ahead and leave those voicemail messages. Those messages will get played here live on the show and responded to in kind. You can also leave me messages on – well, I am on – no, let me stop lying. I gave up Bluesky. I gave up Bluesky, y'all. It's cool and whatnot, but like I could never really get with it, man. I've been a Threads guy from Threads beginning, and I'm rocking with Threads, man. And so, if you really want to get in touch with your boy, hit me up on Threads. My name on Threads is Mr._Spann. And Instagram, Mr._Spann. Follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, subscribe to the channel, the Spann Report Podcast Network on YouTube and on iTunes, man. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And, whenever we post a new video, post a new podcast, man, you guys will be alerted to when those new shows are going up and going live, right? Also, we are on Spotify, so you can watch us on Spotify. We have polls on Spotify. You can vote in the polls on Spotify. You can watch the videos on Spotify. You can listen to the podcast on Spotify. Spotify's got like a lot of shit going on with it right now. So for those of you who prefer Spotify, We are on Spotify heavy, right? But also leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Spotify. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We really do appreciate everybody who does that. Doesn't cost you a dime, man. Just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety. But also, if you want to put something on it, put some, kind of contribute to the financial means of the Spann Report Podcast Network, man, we do have a store. Our store link is in the show notes, man. You can go ahead, buy yourself a t-shirt, buy yourself a coffee mug, buy yourself a mouse pad or a laptop cover. I mean, we got, athletic shirts, we got hoodies and whatnot. We got a little bit of everything in that store. And so, like, for those of you who want to like help us out in a very tangible way, really do appreciate you guys. So go ahead, go into the store, buying yourself some merch, and helping us financially with those contributions, man. We really do appreciate that, real talk. But yeah, man, like I said, it's been a couple weeks since the last time I talked to you. I mean, I know it's been a lot of shit. I swear to I know it's been a lot of shit going on, man. And I know, to some of this stuff, y'all have been, kind of wanting to know what I thought about it. And there's been times where I wanted to speak on it, but again, life kind of doing its thing, right? But yeah, man, we gonna talk tonight about Charlie Kirk tonight. And the reason why we're talking about Charlie Kirk tonight is because of there's a couple different reasons why. Well, one, I got some thoughts on it. That's the main thing. But the other part about it is, like, I've been noticing how the media landscape has been changing in regards to how we talk about Charlie Kirk and how we're allowed to talk about Charlie Kirk and the ramifications around how you talk about Charlie Kirk and what that means going forward for us as a populace, with the way that not only media is moving, but also in somewhat of a way in how they are trying to shift what cancel culture is, right? Because let's be frank, there have been a lot of people in the last few days since Charlie Kirk was popped. I'm not going to use the word assassinated for this guy. He was not important enough to be saying that he was assassinated. This guy was shot. Okay, he was not a Malcolm X. He was not an MLK. He was not a JFK. He was not a Robert Kennedy. He was not a fucking Abraham Lincoln. This guy was not assassinated. He was shot. Okay, so there's been a policing in how you can talk about Charlie Kirk, and it's as if they want those of us who weren't the target demographic of a lot of his rhetoric, but were also like the butt of a lot of his rhetoric. There's a way in which they want you, like they're trying to police how people talk about Charlie Kirk's death. And a large part of this, I feel as though, is kind of coordinated. And now I want y'all, I really want to be clear here. Your man Spann isn't a conspiracy theorist by any stretch of the imagination. Like a lot of times, like my eye, when niggas start doing that conspiracy theory shit, my eyes kind of glaze over, like, nigga, for real, like, come on, bruh. Right? That's not to say that there haven't been any, like, vast conspiracies of a large scale that have been true, right? And we saw that with Watergate. We saw that with like some of how like how we view George W. Bush's push into the Iraq war after 9/11. Like some of that shit is true. But in most cases, like the conspiracy theories be reaching and they connecting dots that doesn't necessarily always need to be connected, right? But there have been some things that have happened over the course of the last few days that made me think that, like, yo, man, what the fuck is going on here? Why are they so eager to paint this in a certain way? Why are they so rushing to judgment in how, not only how people talk about it, but punishing how people talk about it, to the point where folks are losing their jobs over, how they react to the death of Charlie Kirk, right? So we're gonna talk a little bit about all of that tonight. I got some thoughts about it. I do. But before I get into any of that, though, before I get into any of that, let's just I got this though. So what I want to do, I want to play back some of Charlie's words, right? Because apparently, though, here's what's wild about the entire thing about Charlie Kirk's passing. Apparently, the people who told us that facts don't give a fuck about your feelings are very much in their feelings this past week, right? Those same people, facts don't give a fuck about your feelings, are very much in their feelings, and they ain't trying to hear the facts. Also, people are like really upset when you regurgitate or play Charlie Kirk's words back to them. Because you got to understand, some of these people think that, hey, Charlie Kirk wasn't a racist. I like Charlie Kirk. And if I like Charlie Kirk and I believe with everything he's saying it makes sense, and you think it's racist, therefore that means you think I'm racist. And I hate to break it to you, but yeah. Yeah. If you were one of those people who thought that Charlie Kirk was making the most sense when he was talking about black people, minorities, the LGBTQ community, and you thought he was making the most sense when he was talking about that shit, yeah, you got some issues that you need to look at yourself at with too, right? And I think that has been the thing by and large where we're living in a time where folks are their information is siloed, right? You got people who watch certain news channels, and they watch these certain news channels because these news channels kind of regurgitate back to them the line of thinking that they fuck with, right? But then you also have folk who, like myself, like I try to watch a bunch of different, sources because I do this, but also because I want to be well informed. I don't want to get on this microphone and talk to y'all about some shit that I have absolutely no fucking clue what I'm talking about. Right? I don't want to do that. When you listen to me, I want you to at least have the reassurance of knowing that, like, yeah, at least, I know at least Spann thought about this shit. I know Spann read about this shit before he decided to get on the fucking mic to talk about it. But oftentimes, a lot of people don't. I could have talked about this shit a couple days ago. But so much news was coming out over the course of the last few days. And again, we talk about how, like, we're in the attention economy and how, people got to be first. They want to be the first to tell you this. They want to be first to, get this information out. Oftentimes, being first doesn't also mean being right. And we want to get it right here, right? So, first things first, though. First things first, I want to play something, that Charlie Kirk said on his podcast. I'm going to play his words. I didn't edit this. I didn't doctor this. I got this shit off social media the same way everybody else do. Right? Now, I don't know if his people or anybody around or anybody who like endorses Charlie Kirk would call this AI or edited or whatever the case may be. I understand these to be words from Charlie Kirk's podcast. Okay. So I'm going to pull this video up, of course, so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Hold on a second while I do this here. Let me pull this up. Yeah. Okay. So it's already like started and shit. But this here, I believe this comes from the Young Turks, which I'm not really a big fan of the Young Turks, but sometimes, you got to get your sources from you got to get your videos from where you can get them from. And so this was one of the things I got it from. So let me pull this up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Add, boom. And let's see what Charlie Kirk has to say regarding black women, apparently, because he had a lot of shit to say about black women, of course, before his untimely demise. But let's see what he had to say.
In fact, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
All right. So, he mentioned Sheila Jackson Lee. He mentioned Michelle Obama. He mentioned Ketanji Brown Jackson. These are well-accomplished black women. One is a Supreme Court justice. One is the former First Lady of the United States. One is a former Congresswoman. Now, the video that he played, and again, like I said, I get this from the Young Turks. They didn't play the entire thing in its entirety, but there was the video that he played was of Sheila Jackson Lee on the House floor stating that when she did go to college, her college position, she was able to get into college because of affirmative action. So she got her foot in the door because of affirmative action. However, she still had to make the fucking grades. She still had to graduate. She still had to go to graduate school. She still had to get elected. She still had to get elected again and again and again. Affirmative action didn't do that for Sheila Jackson Lee. Affirmative action didn't have to do for Michelle Obama what Charlie Kirk thinks it does, despite the fact that Michelle Obama is an Ivy League educated woman, married to a constitutional scholar by the name of Barack Obama. As a matter of fact, she was in a much more advantageous position because of her education, because she was learned before she got with Barack Obama. Let's not talk about Ketanji Brown Jackson, the current Supreme Court justice nominated by Joe Biden, whom you think only got there because she took a white person's spot, who is a Harvard graduate, a constitutional scholar, has been a judge in the circuit court and the appeals court. Like, she rose up the ranks. You are Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is a college fucking dropout, or was. Sorry, we're talking about him in the past tense now. Was a college fucking dropout. Not to say anything bad about college dropouts. Everybody can't make it through college, and that's not a knock. But for you to say that a black woman doesn't have the processing power and took a white person's spot, therefore delegitimizing their status and their accomplishment. Fuck you. Fuck you. And so this is one of those instances where you will have those people on the right who will say silly shit like, well, that doesn't make him a racist. He's just saying that, had there not been affirmative action and had there not been, set-asides, that they wouldn't be in those positions. Now, why would those set-asides be needed in the first fucking place? Why did we have those set-asides? There was years of black people not being able to go to some of these schools. There was not even just years, decades, centuries even, of black people not being able to go to these schools. There were barriers set in front of black people in every aspect of life in America. So much so that in 1954, I want to say it was, Brown versus the Board of Education, when Thurgood Marshall argued against the segregation of the schools, that was a landmark ruling by the Supreme Court to desegregate the schools, to give the black kids the same access to the academic resources that the white kids were getting all across this nation. But somehow, some way, you think that we're above the racism now. So they had to get some set asides. No, motherfucker, they just even the fucking playing field. To be frank, Charlie Kirk went on record to say that he believes that the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a goddamn mistake. Charlie Kirk is on record saying he believes that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a horrible human being. Nigga! But you want me to think that, like, yo, when this dude passes away, that I'm supposed to be like, oh my God, what the fuck? Why did they do that to Charlie? No! His voice was dripping with disdain and contempt while talking about prominent black women in positions of power on his podcast, right? Now, I know some white folks will point out, well, Charlie can't be fucking racist, man. I mean, damn it. Candace Owens is one of his best fucking friends, man. What are you talking about? It's like, oh, I mean, okay. You think black people really roll with fucking Candace Owens, though? I mean, think about that for a second. Candace Owens really only has the cachet that she does is because she lends people like a Charlie Kirk, and those of you who would agree with a Charlie Kirk, she would give a whitewashing, I'm sorry, not even a whitewashing, but she would bring some legitimacy to you to make it seem as though it's not racist because you got that one black person that you can point to say, hey, it's not racist. I found a black person who agrees with me. Never mind if that black person doesn't necessarily represent the vast majority of black people who be like, get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit. Right? Like, think about that for a second. Thomas Jefferson was a racist. He held slaves. I know here in America, man, like we talk about Thomas Jefferson, he's one of the founding fathers, man. I want to say he was the third president of the United States of America, right? But he was also a slaveholder. At the same time, talking about all men being created equal, make that make sense. Thomas Jefferson was a slaveholder. And while he was a slaveholder, as much as he would talk about all men being created equal, he didn't live his life that way. However, Thomas Jefferson had children by one of his slaves. Slave by the name of Sally Hemings. And even now, it's an event when the Hemings, descendants and the Jeffersonians get together in some sort of way. There's tension there still. Over 200 years later, there's still tension there. Because some of those Jeffersonian descendants have to reconcile the fact that, hey, our ancestor are enslaved folk, but also we have to look in the face of the descendants of the slave that he held because he had children with her, while also keeping her in captivity. So you're not going to be able to talk to black people about, hey, he had that one black friend. He took some pictures with some black kids. Ironically, the people that he is in league with, the black people that he is in league with, also have very fucking poor views of black people. So when you say that Charlie Kirk isn't a racist because, hey, Candace Owens is a friend of his, Candace Owens came out with a tribute video to him, you're not making the point that I think you're making. You're not. You're definitely not. Right? So another thing that kind of came up over the course of this week, right? There was another video I kind of wanted to play. Let me see what this video is here. Oh, this is Charlie saying some more racist shit. I'm sorry. Let me just a second here. I got some shit going on here. Give me just a second, folks, while I get these people these links, because now folks are asking me for links and shit. So let me get these folks these links so they can be a part of this show here tonight too. Give me just a second here. Listen to that. All right, give me just a second here, folks. All right. All right. So they catching me here live here tonight, folks. But so yeah, let me close that window. Bam. All right, that's the wrong fucking window. You big dummy. No, but so we got some more Charlie Kirk words to play back. So let me pull this up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann here. I'm gonna pause this here, but I want to be able to pull this up. So just a second here. Let me take this down and I'm gonna pull this up. All right. Here we go. We get this video here from Instagram. And this is Charlie Kirk talking some more. I don't know if there's a way. No, I can't really maximize this. So, well, here's what I'll do. I will make that shit bigger. There we go. I will make that shit bigger so you guys can see this. But check this out, y'all.
Sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
When blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today, they were less murderous, there was less break-ins. Why is that? And the data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened?
A certain skin color now gets their own summertime celebration. Oh, wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day.
He's talking about Juneteenth. He's complaining about the fact that black people got Juneteenth as a national holiday.
Remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder.
BLM stands for Black Lives Mattering, not burn, loot, and murder. I challenge anybody. I challenge anybody on the right. If you believe that black people murder on behalf of Black Lives Matter, please present some level, any level of evidence of that being true. Any level of that being true. I challenge that.
Yeah, DEI stands for
one of the biggest.
didn't earn it, just so we're clear.
Can we also acknowledge, due to the laws under Jim Crow, that black people were significantly hindered from economic advancement?
This is a really important question. The data shows not really. Black Americans are poorer today in 2024 than they were in the 1950s. The disappearance of the black father has been the number one driver of black poverty in this country.
Okay, so this is another talking point that a lot of conservatives like to talk about in regards to the black family. Even in instances where the black family isn't married, right? Where the father isn't married to the mother, where they are living in separate households. Statistically, black fathers are more involved with their families, with their children, than white men, than even our Hispanic brothers. As a matter of fact, there's statistical evidence of this being true. I'm gonna pull this up. Let me do my thing here. I know I got a lot going on, but let me do my thing here. Oh shit, not Google Chrome. Okay, so and this was weird. So the Google AI has already populated an answer for me, but it says yes. Studies show that black fathers are often more involved in their children's lives than fathers of other racial groups, a reality that contradicts the harmful stereotype of black father absence. Non-resident black fathers in particular demonstrate high rates of engagement through day-to-day caregiving, playing with children, and providing learning activities. This strong father involvement is linked to significant benefits for black children, including better socioeconomic and interpersonal skills, improved school readiness, and reduced risk of negative outcomes for adverse childhood events. Numerous studies have been debunking the idea that black fathers are generally absent, with some research indicated that they are more involved in their white or Hispanic fathers in various activities, even not when living with their children. All right. Now, of course, I can go to CBS News that says that black dads are more involved in their children's lives than this is CBS Miami. Black dads are more involved in their children's lives than any other group. Let's see. I'll fix it next time. As a matter of fact, let me pull this video down so you can watch this video from CBS News. Is this what they're talking about? Let's see what they're talking about here on CBS News. I'm going to pull this down, and then I'm going to pull the CBS News joint up so we can see what CBS is talking about. So I'm gonna move this over here because I need this somewhere else. But yeah, let me pull this up so you guys can watch this video here, and we're gonna see what they're talking about here on CBS News. Let me take that. All right. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let's see what this video here is talking about here on CBS News about Black fathers and their involvement with their children. Yeah, here we go.
Through my day.
About 11 breaking negative stereotypes about black fathers. Members of Congress joined a policy meeting to tackle them because they see people hurt by perceptions based on bias.
So they're finding facts to fix the narrative. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward explains.
Corey Patterson is a certified public accountant, partner in a Broward County firm with 2 degrees, certifications, and thanks to his 4-year-old fishing buddy,
I love you.
one defining label.
I think the best thing and the best title I've ever had is the title of being a father. It feels like you get the opportunity to go in the time machine and give all of the lessons that you learned throughout life to a younger version of yourself. And I kind of go through my day and I'm kind of explaining things that I'm doing with my son. People look at me like, really, you're doing that? And I'm like, I am. Isn't everybody?
It's a question 10-year-old Centers for Disease Control research tackled. It found black fathers more involved in their children's lives compared to other racial groups, a fact so obscured by a different narrative. The U.S. House of Representatives member Frederica Wilson, founder of Miami's 5,000 Black Role Models mentoring program, called this policy meeting in the U.S. Capitol to change.
It is very disingenuous the way they are perceived and stereotyped across this nation. And it's time to amplify the message.
Her Congressional Commission on the Social Status of Black Men and Boys plans to attack disparities and misconceptions with more research.
I accept God's given responsibility.
And pledges from people working to help.
Go, Dada, go, Dada, go.
Between park trips and story time with his son Cole, Patterson is an advocate for the Fatherhood Task Force of South Florida, a group that trains, teaches, supports, and holds workshops with dads.
I think that false narrative is discouraging to young fathers.
With their full court press, advocates see a score that might turn heads. Wilson and other members of Congress expect their meeting in D.C. to ripple here, too. They hope organizations use their platform to bring attention and attack misconceptions, too. In downtown Miami, Larry Seward, CBS News, Miami.
All right. So Charlie Kirk said that, as a matter of fact, before I say what Charlie Kirk said, because I don't remember, let's go back to what fucking Charlie Kirk said just a second ago, because he was just on here talking shit. So let me go back to what Charlie Kirk had to say. Let me take this down because I got to stop that. But yeah, let me take that down and let's pull Charlie punk ass back up. All right. Okay. So, bam. What did Charlie say again?
Not have the same rights they had today. They were less murderous. There was less break-ins. Why is that? And the data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad. It was evil. But what happened?
A certain skin color now gets their own summertime celebration. Oh, wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day. Remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder.
Yeah, DEI stands for
one of the biggest.
Didn't earn it, just so we're clear.
Can we also acknowledge, due to the laws under Jim Crow, that black people were significantly hindered from economic advancement?
This is a really important question. The data shows not really. Black Americans are poorer today in 2024 than they were in the 1950s. The disappearance of the black father has been the #1 driver of black poverty in this country.
The disappearance of the black father has been the #1 driver of black poverty in this country. Now, those of the right would probably disagree with me when we start talking about some of the systemic issues that would try to drive black fathers away from their children in the beginning. To begin with, they would totally deny the shit, right? But they want us to believe in black pathology. They want us to believe that black fathers just simply do not want to be involved with their children. They want us to believe that black people are inherently dangerous and murderous and, criminals towards not just themselves, but to other communities as well. Right? They want to talk. They talk to us to death about black on black crime. How black people are more likely to kill. You're more likely to be killed by another black person than another black person, and not really dive into the whole idea of usually crime is meted out by people who look like you. Charlie Kirk wasn't murdered by a black person. Charlie Kirk wasn't murdered by a gang. Charlie Kirk wasn't murdered by anybody whom he sought to pathologize. Charlie Kirk was murdered by a white dude from Utah, Mormon, raised in a Republican family. But Charlie Kirk wanted you to believe that the most dangerous person, the most dangerous thing in America was a young black person with a gun. That wasn't what ended his life. It was a young white guy in Utah from a conservative family who ended the life of Charlie Kirk. Now, again, I've said this before, man. Like, they want us to, the interesting thing about what's going on in this nation right now is they want to reframe the argument. As a matter of fact, as we talk about reframing the argument, let's bring up the fact that, unfortunately, the person who's occupying the Oval Office at this particular moment is stoking a lot of the bullshit. Okay. I'm sorry. But yeah, the person who's currently occupying the White House right now is stoking a lot of the bullshit. And I will say this until I am blue in the face. I will never forgive anybody who voted for a second helping of this bullshit. Nothing in the world that you can say will ever make sense to me about allowing this piece of shit to occupy the White House again. Some of you motherfuckers may have had an excuse back in 2016. You don't have that fucking excuse in 2024 or 2025. We saw it was a shit show the first time. Some of y'all decided to sit the fuck at the crib and not vote. Fuck you. Some of y'all decided to vote for this shit. Fuck you. Sincerely, from the bottom of my balls, fuck you. Because y'all decided that this would be worthy of another go round. But when Charlie Kirk was, clipped, Donald Trump took his punk ass up into the Oval Office and he had this to say. So I'm going to pull this up. We're going to watch what the current unfortunate president of the United States, y'all motherfuckers made this nigga POTUS again. I can't believe it. But, y'all made this nigga president again. And I'm going to play what the fuck this nigga had to say. This orange, deranged, only running for president to keep his bitch ass out of jail president that y'all wanted to have again. I mean, I'm sure y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm sure most of the people who listen to this podcast understand it like this was an existential fucking mistake, right? But for those of you who are not regulars to the Mrs. Spann official podcast, yeah, I'm talking to your bitch ass. You thought this was a good idea. Fuck you. From the bottom of my balls, fuck you. All right? So let me pull this up so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Let's see what this Orange Menace has to say. Check this out, y'all. Oh, I'm sorry. Bam.
I'm filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America.
Let's also be clear. Charlie Kirk, when they talk about open debate, more often than not, Charlie Kirk was talking to college kids who were not of his stature, right? But also his social media apparatus allowed for him to look better in a lot of those debates than he actually really came across, because again, you can be whomever you want to be on social media. You can craft whatever image of yourself you want on social media. So those debates where Charlie Kirk was getting his ass handed to him by some 21-year-olds, some 22-year-olds, them shits wasn't the ones that he was posting up. But the ones where he was getting the better of a 21 or a 22-year-old, guess what? Charlie Kirk was posting them shits on his platform. Okay? Let's keep that a buck. Let's be for real. We are not lying about who Charlie Kirk was here.
He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie.
And I think that's a very important point. That's a very important point. And here's the reason why. I think that when it comes to what our children are watching on social media, I think now more than ever, it is imperative upon us as parents, especially if you have like teenage kids, young adults, that you know, that are your children, that are your nephews, that are your nieces. It's imperative that we talk to them about some of the shit that they're watching on social media. Because unfortunately, social media, with the algorithms, with the way in which social media targets, certain messages towards certain individuals, depending on what it is they like and what it is that they pay attention to. It's imperative to us to understand what it is they're watching and to be able to counteract or have a counter argument to some of this shit. Because again, Charlie Kirk did have some connection with the youth. He's not the only one. Andrew Tate is another one that has helped radicalize the youth, right? To give them some alternative, like, it starts off like kind of innocuous, but then it starts becoming more noxious the further they get down that rabbit hole. And so I want us, or not even so much I want us, but we should be more cognizant of the types of things that our youth are taking in. Be more proactive in the information that our youth are taking in so that they are not radicalized to the point where someone like a Charlie Kirk, who believes that a black woman who graduated summa cum laude from the law school of Harvard University is a diversity hire because she's Supreme Court Justice of the United States of fucking America. We have to be cognizant of that. We have to be aware of what our children are taking in. Because again, honestly, with Donald Trump's reach into the youth vote, a lot of young men voted for Donald Trump. And sometimes, like let's keep it a buck, a lot of podcasters kind of made Donald Trump seem palatable to a lot of young men. Not understanding, especially young men of color, not understanding the negative effects of what Donald Trump's presidency could mean for them. Right? I mean, even white folks, to some degree, are finding out how bad it could be for them. Farmers are finding out, like, hey, man, this motherfucker putting tariffs on our shit. I might lose my fucking farm. But they voted for Donald Trump. You got Latinos in Florida like, oh, shit, I'm being deported. But I supported Donald Trump. He said he was going after the fucking rapists and the criminals. I ain't no rapist and no criminal, nigga. I'm trying to put a roof on your house. But he getting rid of you too. So we got to be cognizant of the information that we're taking in, but also making sure our babies are not being inundated with these messages too. It is imperative upon us to make sure that our children are being infiltrated with a lot of this bullshit information. Real talk, man. Real talk. So I'm gonna let this play some more.
He was also a man of deep, deep faith. And we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America.
No, it's not. It's a dark moment for you motherfuckers. A lot of people in America don't give a fuck. And honestly, for those of us who pay attention, I'm not celebrating, but I ain't mad either. I'll say that.
Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed.
Is questioning the credentials of a black woman being on the Supreme Court common sense? Is questioning the education of the first black first lady of the United States of America common sense? I need y'all to put this shit in context, right? They say these words. They say these words, and if you listen to that's the words, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. But when you put it next to what the fuck this person has been saying, hold up, what are you really saying? What are you really saying? And if you think about it, hold up, that shit doesn't include me. That shit doesn't include my people or my, come on, man. We will not lie about Charlie Kirk, especially not the fuck here.
His ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now.
Basically, what Donald Trump is asking y'all to do is stop telling the fucking truth. Stop telling the fucking truth. Donald Trump is going after universities that have DEI programs. Donald Trump is cutting funding from HBCU universities at this very fucking moment because they think that is discriminatory against white people in America. Donald Trump right now is Donald Trump right now wants you to believe that the Tuskegee Airmen are not worthy of being honored in military installments. Donald Trump right now is trying to edit the content at the African American History Museum in Washington, D.C., which is a Smithsonian institution, and he has them going through the exhibits to say that because he's uncomfortable with them. He's uncomfortable with the exhibits there because they talk way too much about how bad it was to be a slave. This is the type of shit that they want us to overlook, that they want us to be cool with, that they want us to stop tripping over. Fuck you. You orange piece of shit. Fuck you. From the bottom of my balls. Fuck you. But this is the type of shit that they think they can pass off as hey, we're just being Americans here. Never mind what most black people are thinking about this shit. Never mind what most people of color are thinking about this shit. Because they don't consider us Americans, y'all. Which is why I'm always perplexed by black people who are cool with this. one who used to be a co-host on one of the shows on this network, is now apologizing for this bullshit. I am amazed at how you come to that. I'm amazed at it. But this is the type of shit they say and think we too stupid to recognize. Nigga, you talking about us. Not only that, not only are you talking about us, but you're talking about us real fucked up right now. And I'm supposed to act like I don't hear the shit. No, bitch. No. No.
My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year,
to which I'm starting to really believe like that was some bullshit too,
which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive.
He's talking about the ICE agents that go out into the community and like be masked and shit. Don't tell anybody who they is, who the fuck they represent. And like they just roll up on motherfuckers. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I'm surprised more of them have not been shot. And that's not that I'm wishing that upon them. But think about this for a second. In a nation with over 400 million guns, in a nation with over 400 million guns, you roll up on somebody with a mask on, pretending, or maybe you are federal agents, right? They don't know that to be true. The regular, the lay person doesn't know that to be true. You could say that's who you are. They don't necessarily, a lot of folks may not necessarily believe that shit. I'm surprised because they're so adamant about keeping their faces covered while they're doing this bullshit, that more of them haven't been shot because of the proliferation of the guns that we have in this nation, right? I'm surprised that more of them who believe that, like, yo, Charlie Kirk was out here saying, like, hey, man, more, you know, some of these deaths are, you know, the price we pay for having a Second Amendment. I'm surprised more of these folks who are out here just like randomly rolling up on folk with their faces masked up, trying to take people and put them in vans and shit like that, have not found themselves on the business end of some other shit. Not saying that I'm wishing for that. I'm just surprised. Right? I am just surprised. Because I know how much or how many guns, yo, that motherfuckers out here strapped, bro. Motherfuckers out here strapped. I'm surprised that ICE has not found more resistance than they have currently because of the proliferation of guns that we have in this nation, right?
In the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others. Radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before.
Charlie Kirk was silenced. Let's keep it a buck here. Let's keep it 1,000 here. Okay? What Donald Trump there was trying to do was to frame Charlie Kirk's murder on his political opponents. when he gave this particular speech in the Oval Office, he was trying to frame Charlie Kirk's murder on his political opponents. In this very moment, Donald Trump is using Charlie Kirk's murder for his own political advantage. Make no motherfucking mistake about it. He didn't give a flying fuck about Charlie Kirk. Let me make this clear. Let me say this again. Donald Trump did not give a flying fuck about Charlie Kirk unless he could use Charlie Kirk for his own political advantage. Before Charlie Kirk, before they even had a suspect in custody for Charlie Kirk, you had Donald Trump saying this shit, but also, not only did you have Donald Trump saying this shit, but you also had Nancy Mace, this miserable bitch. You had Nancy Mace out saying this sort of shit before they even had a suspect in custody. They did not know the motive. They did not know who the shooter even fucking was. But they went out of their way to try to frame it quickly. Quickly. They went out of their way to try to frame it. So I'm going to pull this video up so you guys can watch right on with your mans. Hold on a second. Let me do my thing. All right, so we get this here from the Majority Report. I'm going to fast forward this because, again, I mean, y'all cool and all, but y'all ain't why I'm here. All right? So this is Nancy Mace talking about Charlie Kirk hours after Charlie Kirk had been shot and killed. Okay? So I'm going to maximize this here. Let's see what the fuck Nancy Mace had to say about this. Uh-oh. Did I mute it? I did mute it.
Kirk. And here's Nancy Mace being asked, leaving the Capitol steps, about this very hypocrisy.
I'm going to say this. Democrats own what happened today.
How the fuck did Democrats own what happened that day when they didn't even know who the fuck was responsible for the shooting? Like, think about that for a second. Democrats own what happened that day. She didn't even know who the fuck the shooter was. But they were so adamant about pinning that on their political opposition.
I am devastated. My kids have called panicking. They probably, all the kids of every conservative in the country call panicking. Just because you speak your mind on an issue doesn't mean you get shot.
Then by that logic, do Republicans own the shooting of the two Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota? Isn't this on both sides?
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm asking.
We don't know what condition Charlie Kirk is in right now. Some raging leftist lunatic put a bullet through his neck, and you want.
She didn't even know who shot Charlie Kirk. In that very moment, she had absolutely no fucking clue who shot Charlie Kirk. Donald Trump, at the moment he even announced Charlie Kirk's death, did not know the motive around why Charlie Kirk was shot. But they could not wait. They could not wait to use Charlie Kirk's death for their political advantage. And here's the thing, right? For those of you who are listening to the sound of my voice right now, and you may be right of center, maybe even far right, I'm going to say this. Your political leaders think you're fucking stupid. They really do. They think you're as stupid as the left thinks you're stupid. Because before there was any evidence to anything going on, they tried to frame the discussion. They tried to define the discussion around what would be most advantageous to them politically. We find out later that the shooter was from a Republican family in Utah, wasn't a person of color, wasn't a trans person. He was a white guy from Utah, from a Mormon family. His father was former law enforcement. But they couldn't wait for the facts to come out, for where this guy comes from. They had to frame it for you. They had to make sure that they made you have an idea of who this person could be before they even knew who that person was. This is why many people on the left look at some of you guys on the right as if y'all are fucking stupid. Because the right, y'all leaders, think y'all are stupid. They think y'all are fucking dumb. Donald Trump and Nancy Mace being amongst them. Before they even knew who the fuck this dude was, they were trying to tell you that was a leftist that shot Charlie Kirk. The Democrats own this. Didn't even know who the guy was. Didn't know his motive or anything. But they wanted to make sure that you had in your head already, oh, it was a leftist, those goddamn leftists. Nah, man. They had to paint the picture for you before the picture was even painted for them. To make it more advantageous for them politically. It's not hard. It's not hard, really. It's really not. Even this reporter right now is like, hold on. You saying the Democrats own this. Hold on, I'm gonna rewind this a little bit back or some. Let's listen back to this real quick. Just a second.
Did to the assassination in this tweeted out of Charlie Kirk.
Let's own what happened today. I am devastated. My kids have called panicking. All the kids of every conservative in the country call panicking. Just because you speak your mind on an issue doesn't mean you get shot.
Then by that logic, do Republicans own the shooting of the 2 Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota? Isn't this on both sides?
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm asking.
We don't know what condition Charlie Kirk is in right now.
Hold on. So now, understand what that very exchange right there. She's trying to pin this on Democratic politicians. The reporter rightfully asks, so what about those 2 motherfucking Minnesota people, the Minnesota Democratic Congress people who were shot earlier this year? What about them? Like, are you going to put that on Republicans and shit? Like, oh, we're not talking about them right now. This is about Charlie Kirk. Because again, they cannot have you as a voting populace watching them and saying, hey, y'all been out here fomenting a lot of this shit. That was a very inconvenient motherfucking fact for Nancy Mace in that moment. So now she has to feign outrage. How dare you bring up the fact that Democrats were shot while I'm talking about Charlie Kirk being shot? We're talking about Charlie Kirk right now. How dare you bring that up? The fall fucking disdain that she has. This is all a fucking ploy. And so this is the part where earlier this week I said, I'm not a conspiracy. I swear, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not. My eyes glaze over oftentimes when it comes to a lot of conspiracy theories. They do. They honestly do. But the moment that Donald Trump tried to pin what happened to Charlie Kirk on, the radical left, and then the moment that Nancy Mace goes in front of reporters and say the Democrats own what happened to Charlie Kirk, this is all before they had a suspect in custody. This is all before they had a motive. They didn't have a suspect in custody. They didn't have a motive. But for somehow, some way, these prominent Republican politicians were very adamant about their political opposition being responsible for what had happened to Charlie Kirk. In my mind, I was thinking, oh, well, shit. Did they shoot him? Did Republicans kill Charlie Kirk? Did Republicans kill Charlie Kirk? Did Republicans kill Charlie Kirk? And the reason why I ask that question is for a few different reasons. One, let's keep it a buck. Republicans are really trying to keep us not focused on the Epstein files, which Donald Trump is a very he was a really good friend of Jeffrey Epstein. He, that letterhead came out that he swore didn't fucking exist, and then it came out, right? That with a signature that looks very motherfucking similar to Donald Trump came out. He's trying to, distance himself from that, while at the same time not releasing the Epstein files, which he and his administration promised to do when they came into power. And so a lot of the people who voted for Donald Trump for the release of those files, who are now finding themselves, hey, he's like not releasing those files though, right? He's not releasing those files. So like, what's up with that? So like, there's the distraction element there, right? But also, when it came to like Charlie Kirk, even at one point, one of those Epstein files released, and then suddenly, I'm going to just trust my friends in the White House to do the right thing. Suddenly, Charlie Kirk was off it. He was on it, but then he was off it. I'm going to trust my friends in the White House, right? It became politically advantageous for Republicans in this very moment to act as though they were not involved in what was going on with Charlie Kirk. Now, again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not. I hate the whole idea of conspiracy theory to a large degree. Like I said, again, my eyes glaze over a lot of times. I'm like, yo, man, why y'all so quick to try to frame who did what to whom? Did Charlie Kirk become a sacrificial lamb for you to put, for the Republicans and the current administration at large to advance their own political message, so to speak? And not only that, think about the time that we're living in right now. Donald Trump is currently occupying the city of Washington, D.C. with the National fucking Guard. Donald Trump had been thinking about deploying the National Guard to the city of Chicago. Had been openly talking about it, musing about it. I'm going to send a National Guard to the city of Chicago, despite the fact that crime in the city of Chicago was down, and despite the fact that the governor of the state of Illinois and the mayor of the city of Chicago said, we don't fucking need you here. Right? But he's talking about he's going to send the National Guard into the city of Chicago. Now he's talking about sending them into Memphis, Tennessee, which is a deviation, because Memphis, although it's in a black city, it's in a Republican state. So like a lot of them are just like, are you really sure you want to send them there? Because Republican governor and all. And we thought you were sending them to the blue states with the blue governors with the black people, right? So honestly, I feel as though, and I felt like this, I felt as though the reason why Donald Trump was even trying to get back into this whole thing about Charlie Kirk and who was responsible for this was because he was basically trying to get away from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, right? But also in a time where he's seeking to deploy the National Guard onto black people. Think about this for a second. What better way to say that, like, hey, we need to like invoke like some level of martial law than to say that my political, like my people who are aligned with me politically are being gunned down in this nation. This was a ploy, and the way in which they're framing it is a ploy for more presidential powers to be invested into Donald Trump. Think about why someone like a Nancy Mace will go before a pool of reporters before she even knows what the fuck is going on and say the Democrats are responsible for this. The Democrats own this. Think about why Donald Trump would go in the Oval Office and have an address in the Oval Office to say that radical leftists are responsible for what happened to Charlie Kirk. But not only that, think about why so many people right now are losing their fucking jobs while honestly just talking truthfully about who Charlie Kirk was and what he was talking about. Think about that. Think about that, right? So, I'll pull this up because there was a guy by the name of Matthew Dowd. Matthew Dowd was a former George W. Bush official. I think he used to work in the George W. Bush administration. He was on MSNBC, and he spoke about Charlie Kirk on MSNBC. He was a contributor to that network. MSNBC fired this motherfucker this week. Yeah, they got rid of him this week. Now, here are the words that got Matthew Dowd fired from MSNBC, a national cable news network. These are the things that he said that got him fired from MSNBC, which is allegedly, the liberal channel, the liberal news channel on cable. Okay? This is what got Matthew Dowd fired. Check this out, y'all.
As what you just emphasized, we don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about this. But following up what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt.
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
They fired that man for saying that. They fired him. Right? He didn't say anything incendiary. He didn't say anything that was untrue. He spoke the truth about Charlie Kirk. Here's what's weird to me. Here's what's weird to me about this whole thing with Charlie Kirk getting clapped. You can repeat Charlie Kirk's words back on social media, and those who claim to be fans of Charlie Kirk will take offense to the words of Charlie Kirk being repeated back to them. And you want me to believe that Charlie Kirk's words weren't hateful, but you're mad that I'm posting Charlie Kirk's words. Make that make fucking sense, man. Also, we live in a time where Conservatives hate cancel culture. They hate Oh my God, you can't just tell a joke and not like you can't just tell a joke and these people don't have any fucking sense of humor. They're so fucking sensitive. They're such big snowflakes, right? These same people are coming up with shit like CharlieKirk'sMurderers.com, where they are coming up with an archive of people who aren't necessarily sufficiently mournful enough about Charlie Kirk. And they're seeking to get those folks fired from their jobs because they weren't sufficiently mournful of Charlie Kirk. Make fucking sense, man. You told me you was against cancel culture. Are you? Were you ever? Or was it simply about those who agree with you? And that's what it boils down to. You want people who are on the business end of the rhetoric of Charlie Kirk to be respectful and mournful of someone who sought to subjugate them. Someone who sought to make sure that they were in a subservient position in America going forward. They getting these folks fired from their jobs, y'all. They're really doing that. And so it's wild to me to listen to these people. I can't take many of these people seriously. I really can't. But it's not just this, right? So he was, let's see, there's another one. There's another video that I have that I wanted to share. So Matthew Dow got fired. Fucking allergies are really kicking my ass tonight, y'all. I'm sorry. But Matthew Dow got fired from MSNBC for essentially saying, hey, listen, this guy put out some hateful rhetoric, and unfortunately that hateful rhetoric kind of came back and bit him in the ass, right? Matthew Dow got fired because of that. MSNBC canned him. But you got motherfuckers on Fox News who will go on the air and talk about, I'm sorry, you got motherfuckers who would go on the air and talk about like wantonly killing homeless people.
I'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
So I'm going to pull this up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Hold on a second. We hear why while I get my shit together. But this is Brian Kilmeade on Fox and Friends in the morning. And he's basically talking about killing homeless people for being homeless. He still got a job. Just a second, y'all.
Take the program. Have given billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them. Or something. Just kill them.
I cannot believe.
Hold on. Listen to what the fuck this motherfucker just said.
Something. Just kill them. Or something. Just kill them. Lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them. Or something. Just kill them.
I cannot believe.
So you can go on Fox News and just suggest killing American citizens because they're homeless and keep your job in national media. But if you don't sufficiently mourn Charlie Kirk in your private job that isn't involved in the media at all, you can find yourself without a job. Make that make fucking sense, man. Make that make that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? But that's not it, man. That is not fucking it, though. So I'm gonna play this part here, man. And the reason why I'm gonna play this part is because, you know, I feel it's important. I feel it's important for us to understand what we are up against. What people who are about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness of all Americans, not just some, but everybody. I feel as though it's important for us to listen to the people who are not about that and how they frame their arguments so that we know exactly what it is we're fighting against. Right? So Charlie Kirk's widow went and she made a statement over the course of this week. Charlie Kirk's widow went and made a statement over the course of this weekend. And I'm gonna play that statement, but also y'all know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dissect that shit while we talking about it. So let me go ahead and do my thing here. Let me remove that, but then also bring this back up. But so Erica Kirk has something to say, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I feel like this statement is very fucking performative. I don't feel is a lot of this shit is genuine. And again, because of how I feel about the statements Donald Trump made earlier and the statements that Nancy Mace made earlier, I feel as though this is just the continuation of a political movement. And as much as they would like to make Charlie Kirk a quote unquote martyr, this is being manufactured. Okay. So I'm going to play this and then we're going to dissect as it goes on. All right. So let me pull this up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann here. Check this out real quick. Stop that. All right. Here we go. Check this out, y'all. This is Charlie Kirk's widow speaking. Bam.
Jesus.
Even the performance of Jesus is doing a lot.
Good evening. My name is Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice.
The assassin's family turned him in. The FBI did not do a whole hell of a lot. And to be frank, like they like not even the FBI, but the state police and the local police, they had two other motherfuckers in custody before they even brought the real dude in custody, and that's only because his family turned him in.
I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically to
again, performative.
Save Charles's life. And the police who acted bravely to make sure that there were no other victims on that terrible afternoon.
There was only one shot fired. One. They got who they came to get, and they bounced.
I want to thank the officers who have protected our Turning Point USA family these past 2 days. And I want to thank the Turning Point USA board, the COO, Justin Strife, and my husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy, for all their work in these terrible days to be the stability for our family and for the wider Turning Point USA family as well. My heart is with every one of my husband's employees who lost a friend and a mentor. I want to thank the staffers of this his amazing Charlie Kirk show, who helped him broadcast from this studio, this chair. Every day he loved it. He loved what he did.
I ain't seen the tear fall yet. I've seen a lot of performative fucking actions here, but not one tear fall yet.
I want to thank the millions of people who have shown their love for Charlie here in Phoenix, across America, and worldwide. I want to thank my husband's dear friend, Vice President Vance, and his phenomenal wife, Usha.
Here's another thing that I got a question about. All right. Charlie Kirk's body was picked up by Air Force Two and the Vice President of the United States, Charlie Kirk. He was also being carried by military pallbearers. I don't know how many military fallen soldiers have had the honor of having their casket being picked up by Air Force Two and the Vice President of the United States for any fucking conflict that the United States has ever been involved in. Not 9/11, not the Afghanistan war, not neither of the two Iraqi wars, not the Vietnam War. What military fallen soldier has ever been given the honor of being picked up by the Vice President of the United States of America to be flown on Air Force Two to have their body transported home? But not only that, how many of those fallen soldiers who have fought for this nation have had a congressional delegation advocate for their body to be laid in state at the nation's capital? Don't worry, I'll fucking wait. Because that's what they're doing right now. You've got congressional people talking about Charlie Kirk having his body lay in state at the United States Capitol. Not those same folks not doing the same for fallen soldiers who fought on behalf of this nation. Make that make sense. I'm trying to figure out in my mind, trying to make it make sense in my mind, where you're talking about political violence while at the same time being an apologist for January 6th, where Republicans found themselves trying to overturn the election of one Joe Biden because Donald Trump fed them lies about the election being stolen for 11 months before that election took place. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. This is why those of us on what y'all would consider the left think a lot of people on the right are fucking stupid. They play in y'all face all the time, and y'all never seem to catch it. This is Charlie Kirk's widow. Can't seem to find the gumption to make like a tear fall or anything. Okay.
For their love and support, you guys honored my husband so well bringing him home. You both are tremendous.
She's trying so hard, though. She's trying so hard. The Oscar ain't coming. The Emmy ain't coming either, but she's trying hard to get them shits.
I want to thank President Trump and his incredible family for the same. Mr. President, my husband loved you. And he knew that you loved him too. He did. Your friendship was amazing.
these whispers are really doing a lot. They're doing a lot.
You supported him so well, as did he for you.
Also,
2 days ago, my husband, Charlie, went to see the...
Hold on. Before I go on, though, before I let this go on, as she talks about Charlie Kirk's support of Donald Trump, let's keep in mind that Charlie Kirk originally, back in 2015, back in 2016, did not support Donald Trump, right? Somehow he found a way to get around supporting Donald Trump. It became advantageous for Charlie Kirk to support Donald Trump. It became financially viable for Charlie Kirk to support Donald Trump. So, again, like, even, oh my God, he loved you so much. Like, yeah. I mean, shit, my salary went from $25,000 a year to $412,000 a year. I mean, you know, the nigga who got me to the 412, I mean, all right, my nigga, we good. We good. But it's, again, right now, it seems performative. I ain't seen nothing there teardrop yet.
Face of his Savior and his God. Charlie always said that when he was gone, he wanted to be remembered for his courage and for his faith. And one of the final conversations that he had on this earth, my husband witnessed for his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
At her husband's untimely demise, he was trying to deflect from the fact that, like, many of the mass shootings that are happening in this nation happen at the hands of young white men. And at the time, he was deflecting from that to gang violence. That's what happened.
Now and for all eternity, he will stand at his Savior's side, wearing the glorious crown of a martyr.
So, again, I talked earlier about how they would try to use Charlie Kirk's death politically. She's already calling Charlie Kirk a martyr, right? Now, we already established that Charlie Kirk didn't really have a high opinion of black people. A lot of the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk was putting out was highly adversarial towards black people, black women, immigrants, those whom he thought were criminals, right? And so one of the things I always, kind of think about, I know y'all don't come to me and y'all don't listen to me because y'all want, like, to hear the Bible and stuff, right? Y'all don't think of, like, your man Spann as, like, your Christian evangelical type dude, right? But I am a Christian. I was baptized at 18, right? I accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior 20 some odd years ago. It's been a long time, right? I read my Bible, right? I don't go to church regularly, but I am versed in, like, reading my Bible and understanding, like, these people do not have a monopoly on what it means to be a Christian. They do not. They never have. They try to frame it as if they do, but they do not. So when she talks about Charlie Kirk being at the right hand of his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, one of the first things that I thought about was, like, Matthew chapter 25, verse 40 through 45. And that was, the king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Then he will say to those on his left, depart from me, you are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes and you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison and you did not look after me. They will also answer, Lord, when do we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or sick or in prison and did not help you? And the Lord said, truly I tell you, whatever you did not for one of the least of these, you did not do for me. Now think about this for a second. Republicans go on and on about illegal immigrants and not having them come over here and being able to be taken care of. Republicans go on and on about children not being able to get fed in school. What are we doing buying these kids free lunches? There's no such thing as a free lunch. These are people who call themselves Christian. What do you say to someone who thinks that it is okay to look down on the least of us, while at the same time proposing that, hey, this person is a martyr for Christ? You have got to be out of your damn mind if you think that any of the stuff that the current Republican Party is currently promoting as a mission of Christ. You got to be out of your mind. You have to be absolutely nuts. What Charlie Kirk and white nationalism and white Christian nationalism is promoting is just that, white Christian nationalism. That is what Charlie Kirk was preaching. Charlie Kirk couldn't give a damn about the least of these. He couldn't give a damn about those who were coming to this nation at a chance for a better life. Charlie Kirk couldn't give a damn about black people and the systemic issues that black people were facing in this nation in search of a better life. Charlie Kirk couldn't give a damn about the black women who were facing untold fucking obstacles to reach the pinnacles of success. He told y'all that these black women didn't have the brain processing power to obtain these positions, but they had to take the positions of white people. As if white people were inherently endowed with the abilities to hold these positions. We're not going to lie about Charlie Kirk here. We're not doing that here. Charlie Kirk was a jingoistic, racist, misogynistic, Islamophobic, homophobic piece of shit. If we gonna keep it a buck, if we gonna keep it real, that's who Charlie Kirk was. That's what Charlie Kirk preached. It's unfortunate that he was 31 years old and he had a chance to learn more. But what was his chances of really learning more when it was so financially advantageous for Charlie Kirk to continue to preach the bullshit that he was preaching, not only to those who are already predisposed to believe in the bullshit that he was preaching, but also for those who will be exposed to the bullshit that he was preaching going forward. As his wife stands here, cold-eyed, not a tear in her motherfucking eye, telling us why we should be mourning this dude. I get why she would be mourning this guy. That doesn't mean the rest of us need to. And it's amazing to me to watch how many of these companies are bending the knee and making sure that, if you don't say anything positive about Charlie Kirk, you may end up losing your... why? I thought y'all talked about free speech. I thought this was a free speech nation. Charlie Kirk would tell you that. That's some bullshit. Now y'all don't believe in the shit that even Charlie Kirk was saying. Make that shit make fucking sense. I thought the right was against cancel culture. Y'all are actively seeking to get people fired because they are not mourning this dude. Make that make fucking sense. Make it make sense. I'm gonna let this play some more. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm getting fired up.
Charlie loved life.
This whispering thing she's doing is really killing me, though. I'm sorry.
He loved his life. He loved America. He loved nature, which helped him always bring him closer to God. He loved the Chicago Cubs.
Hey, listen. I got some people that are Cubs fans. I know y'all gonna take offense, but I'm just saying. I told y'all that ain't where y'all want to be. I told y'all he love the Cubs. You don't want to be over there. You don't want to be over there.
And my goodness, did he love the Oregon Ducks? Want me to say go Ducks, so I have to since they play on Saturday. So go Ducks. But most of all, Charlie loved his children. And he loved me with all of his heart. And I knew that. Every day I knew that. He made sure I knew that every day. Every day he would ask me, how can I serve you better? How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? Every day.
No,
every day. He was such a good man.
No,
he still is a good man.
He's not.
He was the perfect father. He was the perfect husband. Charlie always believed that God's design for marriage and the family was absolutely amazing, and it is. It is, and it was the greatest joy of his life. And over, he would tell all these young people to come and find their future spouse, become wives and husbands and parents. And the reason why is because he wanted you all to experience what he had and still has.
Or he wanted to control what they had and how they lived their lives. There's a lot of people who have marriages that don't look like yours that are perfectly happy with what they got going on. There are people out here who have children and they are raising their children. And they're raising their children differently than the way that you raise your children. And they are perfectly happy with the way that their lives are going. Charlie Kirk had one vision for how people raise their families. Charlie Kirk had one vision for what a family even represented. Charlie Kirk was an egotistical, heterosexual, homophobic individual. Acting as though two women couldn't raise a loving, responsible, not even that, loving, responsible human being, but also a loving, responsible human being, concerned about what's going on in the world, but also live a heterosexual life, because I know a lot of y'all feel like that there's only one way to live. But even like to say that they couldn't do that is wrong. To say the same thing of how someone decides that they want to live their own existence as a trans person, to say that that person doesn't have the legal and bodily autonomy to their own personhood is wrong. To say that Charlie just wanted y'all to have what he had, despite the fact that some of them people might not have necessarily wanted what the fuck Charlie had, including a wife that would go on national television and not drop a single fucking tear while giving these kind of remarks. They may not want that. That may not be something that they wanted. But somehow, some way, y'all have figured that this is how everybody should live. And it's not. And we're in America, which means, as y'all say, land of the free, home of the brave. How about y'all let motherfuckers be free, as opposed to trying to impose your lived experience onto everyone else? We're the land of the free, right? How free are we, though? How free are we if we can't allow people to be who they are? Make that make sense.
He wanted everyone to bring heaven into this earth through love and joy that comes from raising a family. It's beautiful.
These whispers.
Charlie always said that if he ever ran for office, I know a lot of you asked if he ever was going to, but privately he told me if he ever did run for office that his top priority would be to revive the American family.
What's the American family? That was, wait, hold on.
One of Charlie's favorite Bible verses was Ephesians 5, verse that his top priority would be to revive the American family. That was his priority. One of Charlie's favorite Bible verses was Ephesians 5, verse 25. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. My husband laid down his life for me, for our nation, for our children.
No, he didn't.
He showed the ultimate and true covenantal love.
No, he didn't. So I'm a kind of go a little bit further because we're going a little bit long here tonight. I'm a fast forward a little bit from this because again, a lot of this again I feel like is a bit of right wing propaganda. I feel as though even his wife is being used. Not that maybe she's not even like being used willingly, but I feel as though his wife is being used for political propaganda, and some of this seems to me. I know is wrong. You know, like you can, you know, I try not to judge anybody's grief, right? I really do. And I try to check myself a lot of times when I feel like people are leaning into that in hopes of getting more attention. I do. But I'm also cognizant and politically aware enough to understand that even Charlie Kirk's death is being used by powers much bigger than myself, much bigger than even Erica Kirk, to forward a fucking political agenda. And they will use her, whatever tears it is she's been producing at this particular moment, they will use those in order to advance that political ideology and that political message. Again, we're talking at a time where Donald Trump is unleashing the National Guard on cities across the nation. He's already done it in LA. He's already done it in Washington, D.C. He's threatened to do it in Chicago. Now he's talking about doing it in Memphis, Tennessee. He's already using his spot as a president of the United States to try to use the nation's military against his own fucking people. He's already doing this. You think that he wouldn't use Charlie Kirk's death as a reason to try to also further his political agenda? Think about this for a second. You don't think that Donald Trump would use Charlie Kirk's death to forward whatever it is he's trying to do politically, to solidify his own position politically? Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck about Charlie Kirk. He doesn't. Donald Trump only gave a fuck about Charlie Kirk so far as he can use Charlie Kirk for his own advantages. That's it. He could use Charlie Kirk's death. This is part of the reason why. This is part of the reason why they were so adamant about pointing to the left, pointing to the radical left, and saying that Donald, like the radical left is responsible for what happened to Charlie Kirk before they knew what the fuck happened to Charlie Kirk, before they even knew who the fuck killed Charlie Kirk and the motive. They were already framing the discussion about what happened to Charlie Kirk. Already doing that Before they even had anybody in custody, they were already doing that. While at the same time, Donald Trump is saying, hey, we need to send a National Guard to Chicago. We need to send a National Guard to Boston. We need to send a National Guard to all of these black cities in blue states. It's only till recently where he said, hey, what about Memphis, which is a black city in a red state? And they're not even the most dangerous state in the nation. That would be Anchorage, Alaska. You ain't heard shit about Anchorage, but they ain't sending the National Guard up there. Donald Trump will use Charlie Kirk politically. But have you heard anything about the National Guard being sent to that Utah station or the Utah college town where Charlie Kirk was gunned down? Have you heard anything about that? Mega! Have you heard anything about that? It wasn't black people that gunned Charlie Kirk down. Some type of way, some of these white folks, they had some white guys talking about some white man fight back. Like, fight back against who, nigga? Y'all selves? It wasn't one of us. It wasn't the Hispanics that killed him. It wasn't the Asian that killed him. Who y'all fighting back against? Y'all selves? The FBI put out a study some years ago that said, like, one of the biggest threats against the national security was radicalized white men in this nation. Donald Trump sought to delegitimize that study, despite the fact that a large number of the political violence that we've seen has been coming from the right wing. That's just a fact. Very seldom are you finding young black men going into anybody's school and shooting that bitch up. Very seldom are you finding young black men going into any congressional town halls and shooting that bitch up. Very seldom are you finding young black men being the lone gunman on an assassination type shit. Very seldom are you finding young black men on some mass shooting shit like, I don't know, Uvalde, Sandy Hook, Las Vegas. Very seldom are you finding it in a different way. This nation does not want to confront the truth. The problem that we have in the United States of America right now is not we. The problem that a lot of people in America are having is that they are not ready to confront the truth about America right now, politically, culturally, and historically. Not ready to confront and be for real about who we are as a nation, who we've always been as a nation, and who we can be going forward. Not ready really not ready to confront it. So Charlie Kirk's murder is what I would call an inflection point. It's an inflection point in how we look at ourselves as Americans, how America and the media apparatus is ready to tackle the real of what is happening right now. And also the reality of how civically engaged and unengaged the populace of this nation really is. Because I'm going to be frank with you right now. A lot of people don't know what the fuck is happening right now. So many people are so busy with their heads down trying to get by their day to day to the point where they don't have the luxury of finding who the fuck is Charlie Kirk and why is he on my TV right now? Why y'all talking about this guy so much? There's a lot of people, especially if they're not online. If they're not online, they don't know who the fuck Charlie Kirk is. They're wondering why the president of the United States is talking about this guy. They're wondering why the vice president of the United States is flying this dude on Air Force 2 and walking with him with a military fucking pallbearer unit. They're wondering why. Who the fuck was Charlie Kirk? And the truth of the matter is, Charlie Kirk was a xenophobic, racist, homophobic, jingoistic piece of shit. And he's probably the most of all of those things this side of Rush Limbaugh. And the Republican apparatus at this particular moment in time sees his death, unfortunately, as advantageous to them to promote and to advance their ideology politically going forward. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. And so I would hope, like I said, man, it's been a while since I've been on the mic, man. I got to get my chops back. But as I've been watching this shit play out over the course of the last 4 or 5 days, man, I've just been like chomping at the bit, like, yo, I'm watching this happen. I'm like, yo, it's almost like I've seen this fucking movie before. That's how wild it is for your boy. It's as if I have seen this fucking movie before. I've been watching how they move, and like, yo, I see this coming. I see this coming along. Like, it's wild. It's wild how, like, when you do pay attention to these politics and you do pay attention, like, man, I see that. Here it come. I'm not surprised by that. Right? And it's hard to get other people politically engaged because, they may see it like, yo, this is just a money game. Right? Some people think it's just a money game. Some people, they are dealing with their own, individual lives, man. And like, yo, man, I just gotta go to work, man. I can't be worried about this other shit, man. Like, who is he? Charlie Kirk? Who? You know what I'm saying? And they don't necessarily know how that rhetoric that Charlie Kirk was spewing affects them on a daily basis. Charlie Kirk had the ear of the fucking president of the United fucking States, man. Think about that. A dude like Charlie Kirk. Hold on. I'm gonna pull this. I'm pulling this down. But hold on a second. Because I feel like as if this needs repeating. But someone like Charlie Kirk had the ear of the president of the United States. And this is what the president of the United States was hearing from someone who he always listened to. Okay? I'm going to play this again. This is what Charlie Kirk would say to the president of the United States. And if you don't think this has anything to do with anything that you have to live with, I pity you. But this is what he would say. Shit like this.
If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
When blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today, they were less murderous, there was less break-ins. Why is that? And the data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened?
A certain skin color now gets their own summertime celebration. Oh, wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day. Remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder.
Yeah, DEI stands for one of the biggest. Didn't earn it, just so we're clear.
Can we also acknowledge, due to the laws under Jim Crow, that black people were significantly hindered from economic advancement?
This is a really important question. The data shows not really. Black Americans are poorer today in 2024 than they were in the 1950s. The disappearance of the black father has been the #1 driver of black poverty in this country. At least agree that black dads not being around is a bad thing.
Anyone's father not being around is a bad thing. Starting in the 1980s and continuing onward, there's been a war on drugs. Is this correct?
I like the war on drugs. Blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders. They commit more arsons. They commit more kidnappings. That's not a war on drugs. That's a culture problem. Why are so many blacks committing murders outside of their population? So we've spent $20 trillion on uplifting black communities. $20 trillion, and black Americans are poor. Food stamps, subsidized housing, Medicaid, public schooling, subsidized college. We're talking about $20 trillion that is spent on the Great Society, and yet Black America is poorer, more murderous, more dangerous.
Part of
what does
equity
equity mean?
is
you mean taking
allowed-
from other people?
I'm sorry if I see.
Yeah, that is the guy that had the ear of the president of the United States. To anybody who would talk to me or would say to me that dude was not a racist, fuck you. Okay? Fuck you. From the bottom of my balls, fuck you. Okay? We will not be gaslit here. We will tell the truth here. Charlie Kirk was not a martyr. Charlie Kirk was a podcaster. Charlie Kirk was a podcaster who had a vast influence in right-wing politics. Charlie Kirk had the ear of the current dude who's occupying the Oval Office in the White House right now. So that means that Charlie Kirk had the means to influence policy against those whom he did not like. I will not pretend to mourn Charlie Kirk. I don't celebrate that Charlie Kirk got clapped. I'm not mad that Charlie Kirk got clapped. Because Charlie Kirk spoke rhetoric that sought to subjugate people who look just like me. Charlie Kirk sought to erase the history of the suffering of people who look just like me. And I'm sure Charlie Kirk would be perfectly okay with me saying so. If Charlie Kirk was a free speech proponent that the right wing says he was. So yeah, man. That's it. I think I'm done talking about this shit. I've been running my mouth for quite a while now. But yo, man, it's about time for me to get on up out of here. Before I do, I did have some comments here. It was some folks in here in the chat that were kind of talking. I want to highlight you guys before I get out of here. My man Horatio is in the chat. He says, I logged in and the first thing I see is Mrs. Spann in a Lions jersey, shaking my head. Nigga, hold up. Bro, if you've been listening to me for any length of time, man, you have to know I was a Lions fan. Come on, bro. Don't act brand new. Dude, don't do that to me, Horatio. He said, guess I'll watch the rest of the show. I appreciate you, brother, man. I appreciate you being here, real talk. Adam is in the chat, and Adam says, he says, a big part of the issue is that mainstream media keeps falling over themselves for a hot take from known liars. That's absolutely true. One of the things that we're finding in, it's not just mainstream media, it's what they would call new media too, man. Oftentimes, what we're finding is that the hot take is what gets the most attention. And in an attention economy, man, like you get paid for the hottest, maybe not necessarily most well thought out take, but so long as it gets people talking and it gets eyeballs and shit like that, that's what they're drawn to, because unfortunately the algorithm drives the money towards the shit that gets the most attention. And if you could say some of the most egregious shit, unfortunately that's what gets people's attention. So yeah, man, the known liars, they tend to get attention. Some of our more provocative speakers, they tend to get a lot of attention only because they say shit that is conducive to being good with the algorithm. So we got that going on. Adam also says that He says that Trump don't want to fuck with South Side of Chicago, got cold feet. Texas National Guard wouldn't last 2 minutes on the South or West Side, and somebody's probably told him that. I'm gonna say this here, Adam. No, listen, man. As a former South Side resident, okay, I will say this as a former South Side resident. Listen, they don't want it with the military, right? They don't want it with the military. And I say this as someone who, I got a pretty nice, collection of shit here at the house, right? I ain't trying to have that fight with the military, man. They got shit that, like, they ain't even got to come here. They could just send a drone here, bro. Like, if they really wanted to fuck with, like, the YNs in Chicago, and they could, and the thing is, do we really want that? We don't want that, and nor should we nor should we encourage that. So yeah, man, there's like South Side and Texas and stuff like that. Man, listen, yeah, I know we got guns in those places, but like we ain't got shit for what the military got going on, man. Let's be for real. So I don't even want to promote that type of shit, man. I don't, man. I don't want anybody trying to take up arms against the National Guard or the Army, the Marines or whatever, because again, that is us falling into the trap that Donald Trump wants for us in the first fucking place. That really is. Donald Trump wants the excuse to send these armed forces into these places. That's the excuse. He wants that. Because here's the thing, right? As we are finding that Donald Trump wants to what's the word that I'm looking for here? Donald Trump is trying to engulf more and more power into the executive branch, into the presidency, because he's sitting in the spot currently, right? He wants that power for himself. Would he have wanted that for any other president? Absolutely not. He wants that power for himself. And so oftentimes the things that we see Donald Trump doing is an effort to kind of provoke a certain type of reaction from the public, because Donald Trump believes that if all he has to do is invoke an emergency declaration, and if Donald Trump can evoke an emergency declaration, then therefore he has reason to say, well, we're in an emergency, and I can do this, that, and the third, despite the fact that there may not necessarily be an emergency at all, right? And so what we don't want is people falling into the trap of, say, for instance, the National Guard comes into Chicago and some YNs, like the young folk who are righteously upset, mind you, righteously upset. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing here in my neighborhood? Decided they want to like try to take up arms against the National Guard. That does nothing for Chicago. That does everything for Donald Trump. Same thing in Memphis. Same thing in LA. Same thing in Washington, D.C. This is just an attempt to provoke a response. And I hope that motherfuckers don't fall for it. I sincerely hope they don't fall for it, man. Real talk. Let's see. We got another one, man. Adam says this: Kirk's acolytes did not want the truth about his second face getting surfaced to those that only want the first face. Listen, Trump supporters, period, at this point. I'm going to say this here. If you're on social media and you are going back and forth with a Trump supporter, stop wasting your fucking time. Stop wasting your time. The vast majority of those, and the reason why I say that, the vast majority of them, if you can decipher whether or not it's even a real person you're talking to on the other end, because there's a lot of bots going on social media, whether that be Twitter, whether that be Threads, whether that be Bluesky, whether that be Facebook. You don't know if you're even talking to a real person. Okay? Let's put that out there. The second thing is that how often do you think you change minds on social media going back and forth with these people? How often are you really changing their minds? I mean, have you ever been in a conversation with somebody on social media? Y'all were diametrically opposed, and by the time you got in it by the time you got finished with that conversation, you changed the mind of the person that you were going up against? Chances are probably not. 99.9% of the time, you don't change their mind. And here's the other thing, like oftentimes, like you got people who would say, well, Charlie Kirk wasn't a racist. And then they say, prove that Charlie Kirk was a racist. And then you can play all the racist shit that Charlie Kirk said. You know what they're going to do? They're going to pull up a picture of Candace Owens and say, well, he was friends with Candace Owens. How do you explain this? The goalpost is going to constantly move. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. Do not engage with these people. They are not worthy of your time. They are, a lot of these folk are only there to waste your time. They will concede nothing. They will not admit to any wrongdoing. None of that. So if you find yourself in a back and forth on social media, whether that be Facebook, Threads, Twitter, Bluesky, what have you, eject now. You are not changing minds. You were just grinding your gears. That's it. And that's all. So yeah, man. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. And our final comment here, we get Ann. Ann is in the chat and she says, great show. Always love your analysis. Get well. I appreciate you, Ann. Thank you so much for being a part of our show tonight, man. I appreciate you contributing to the discourse that we have here tonight, man. Real talk. Thank you so much, Ann. But yo, it is time for me to get on up out of here. But of course, before I do, I got to remind you guys how to get in touch with your man Spann here and let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit up that hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages. Those messages will get played here and reply to here live on the show, man. Leave those voicemails. I need to hear y'all voices, man. I love y'all in the chat. I do. But yo, man, I want to hear y'all niggas too, man. So go ahead and hit me up. Hit the hotline, area code 313-288-0485. You can also hit me up on Threads and Instagram. Threads and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead and follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, hit me up on the Spann Report Podcast Network channel on YouTube, man. Leave those comments on the YouTube channel, man. We really appreciate you guys who do that. Those comments will get read here live on the show, man. Also, if you're on Spotify, we do put the videos on Spotify. So for those of you who are watching us on Spotify, vote in the polls. Leave us a comment. We really appreciate you guys who do that. Doesn't cost you a dime. It's a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety. If you're listening to us via iTunes, man, go ahead and leave that 5-star review. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get read here live on the show. We appreciate those too. That also doesn't cost you a dime. That also, it just takes a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety, man. Real talk. Yo, man, I promise I will not be gone from the mic this long. You know, like I said, there's been a lot of shit going on, man. Life has been doing its thing, but listen, I'm about to get to it. I'm about to get to it. So, yeah, man, I cannot wait to talk to you guys again soon. But until next time, fam. Yeah. Peace.